Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our continuing vigil on behalf of the post-election process and now the pre-inauguration process in the United States, with implications not only for that country, but for all countries, and in general for the issue of whether the angel of the presence or the dweller on the threshold will at this time prevail. Uh, I'm sure that many of you are following the developments, and the threat of more violence is in the air. Now, it is true that the platforms which the present occupant of the White House has been using for years now um, have been denied to him, some on a permanent basis. The Twitter account on a permanent basis, and others indefinitely, because there is such a danger that by overt means or subtle implications, um, Mr. Trump can arouse the mob, which we have already seen at work, into new heights of effrontery. And five people have lost their lives. Five people. Make sure you keep your mute on, please. Five people have lost their lives in this horrific episode, which, whatever you want to call it, an insurrection or a coup, attempted
Collage.
coup, resulted. Now I'm going to have to turn everybody off if the people will. You have to press your mute button, right? You have to do that, please. So there is a clear and present danger that could continue, and one avenue of incitement at least has been cut off, and that is these social media platforms. There are still some, and they too are being challenged by their owners to moderate uh, or no longer carry uh, any kind of account that belongs to the White House. All right, that's one thing. But the inauguration, which is just what, 10 days away, basically, has been looked at by the extremist groups as their last chance. And they are told to bring their weapons. And Mr. Trump has told them he will not be there, which is another way of saying whatever firepower, bullets or bombs or whatever that you can use to make sure it doesn't go any further, I will not be hurt because I will not be there. One has to look very carefully at the kind of cunning which can be used to communicate with those who in their ignorance have become desperate because they think their country is being taken away from them and their votes have been thrown out when exactly the opposite was attempted. So it's a psychological dynamic, and we're involved with projection, which is what they call now self-owning. There's all kinds of self-owning going on. So one of our tasks is internally to protect the leadership of this country, who will be assembled, the president, the vice president, the head of the House of Representatives and of the Senate, and many senators and House members. If any kind of bombs, bullets, whatever, of course, the Secret Service is strong, and we have to extend our protection there too, as long as it has not been infiltrated. Terrible to have to think of these thoughts, but infiltration is also a possibility, as long as it has not been infiltrated. There is probably some degree of safety. I'm just trying to for some reason I'm having some difficulty. Yeah, well, anyway, let's see what we can do. Yeah, there it is. It was not responding as it should respond, but now will be. So we have to assert our inner protection for the leadership of the country, and especially for the president-elect and the vice president-elect. The Chief Justice will be there. You know, the people who basically have the highest responsibility in running the country as representatives of the people. We have to guard the inauguration. And we have to reach out, as we've been doing. We did last night, and I think we will be doing it tonight here. We're, night here in Finland, midnight. We will have to look at a general way of guarding the whole process and helping more and more people realize the lie they have been told. Now, it's shocking. We know the Nazi tactics, and we know that 2 men, particularly out of the 7 in those Nazi times, were accountable to the Black Lodge more than others: Hitler and Goebbels. And we know about Goebbels, the propagandist, minister of information, whatever he was, that he devised the method of the big lie. Well, it's not new with him, but he certainly defended that approach. If you're going to lie, lie big and lie frequently. And I think President-elect Biden came out today, was it? With the idea that the big lie was being propagated. And dear, if you want to put in, you can certainly put in right uh, the right screen if you wish. The big lie was being propagated, and immediately two of the senators who had been most guilty of propagating the big lie took umbrage, took great offense, were deeply insulted when a clear examination of their own methods and tactics would have revealed that they were part of one of those big lie programs. So there's a whole psychological dynamic going on here. People do not see what they are doing. Or maybe they're so cynical that they do know what they're doing and they pretend, excuse me, that they do not see. But there is not psychological honesty in this whole process, and untruth, lies, mendaciousness. It's being thrown around all over. That's why we've been meditating on infusing the whole idea of truth into the mass mind. Now, some people are so captivated by their emotions and so demagogically overcome that they can never respond at this time to the infusion of truth. They are carried away by something from which they have to recover in lives ahead. But others can be responsive to the truth, and that's why we try to work with it. We try to work with the white light of truth, and we try to work with the rose light, which brings greater reason and calmness to the situation. When you study the Leadbeater illustrations of the aura, you see that the savage state is shot through with a deep red, a jagged, deep red. But as time passes and as there is a waning of the brutality, we turn more and more towards the rose and the pink and the white, you know. The rose color is very important, and we're going to be using it. We're going to be using, I think, the indigo color, which unites the many divergent points of view. We have to remember that in the United States, and really throughout humanity by extension, the Latin motto, e pluribus unum, out of many, one, e pluribus unum, must eventually prevail. Now we have ignorance, fragmentation, emotionalism subject to demagogic control. And many people think it's just the beginning. And when I say many people, I mean sophisticated people who have studied how fascism, how totalitarianism arises. So even though we pass through this inauguration safely, it's certainly not over, as we have been emphasizing. And World War III, on the psychological level, this is my opinion, is being fought out over the next 4 years. before the year 2025. It doesn't mean that the rest of the 21st century will be easy, because we have the fading out of the sixth ray and Pisces, but gradually. And one will have to fight intelligently as part of the army of the Lord Maitreya, with intelligence, with love, with sacrificial action and thought. So the issue right now is very serious. We take it one crisis at a time. We need a safe and complete inauguration, and we need to repel the forces that are among themselves determined to come with guns and bombs. They found many attack weapons, you know. They found bombs planted, and many were armed. Only this time, they say, it's our last chance. Well, even that state of mind creates a kind of desperation, where people will even, suicide bombing is also possible. Let's be frank about it. These people they have, many of them, the martyr complex that is associated with the sixth ray. So, anyway, we have to do what we can inwardly to protect and defend and keep the channel open for the downflow of the higher forces who can arrest this intention to disrupt and destroy. Well, there's so much to say, but I think I have said what I need to say at the moment. Tuya, shall we take a quick look at the chat? Okay. Okay. So Jan is saying, although this hasn't been mentioned by anyone, I'm hoping they drop the protocol WND. I'm not sure what that means. WND use. Use a form of cyber inauguration. It's just not worth the chance. I'm not sure exactly how that will go, Jan. But
It's
yeah,
weapons of mass destruction, WMD.
Oh, WMD.
Is that what she's put down?
No, it's WN. Weapons of mass destruction. No, it's WN she has.
Ah,
N as in Nancy. But anyway, I know they were talking about cyber inauguration. We'll see to what extent, the Secret Service, they've made a fortress out of the place. Have you seen the pictures, right? One barrier after another, and then 8-foot tall fence completely surrounding the Capitol, and we'll see. 11 days remain. Every day is like is a long time. So I'm sure that they are far more aware than we of the ways that danger can occur. It's just that we have to help to protect. And we have some ideas about that, and Tuya will be discussing them and leading us through them over the next few days. Was it, what is he's Reich minister or something like that? He was, he had a title. Yeah, Minister for, Public Enlightenment and Propaganda. Reichsminister for Public Enlightenment and Propaganda. Yeah, well, DK hinted that Hitler and one other were closest to the Black Lodge. I thought about it a lot, and I said, could it be Himmler? Could it be Streicher? They were bad, but truly sinister in the left-hand sense of the word was Goebbels. And it has been remarked, how is it that so many of these men looked completely unlike the great Teuton that they idealized? It's a huge psychological study what brought them to that condition. In any case, the people who tell the big lie now are complicit in the deadly disturbances, one which has taken place and others which are planned. NASA have been tuning into what's on TV, listening this AM on Reporter, spoke with one who was part of the mob. She reported, he said, when he came back, it would be with weapons. Although it was reported that the officer who died was beaten with a fire extinguisher. Yes, his skull was crushed. Seems an opportunistic weapon. In the videos, we could see people with bats and saws and poles. I mean, it's maybe Shakespeare's final play, The Tempest. And maybe the contrasting characters of Prospero, the great and wise magician, representing the hierarchy, and Caliban, representing the unregenerate human being. Well, I don't want to take it too far. Some people came there and they weren't the worst. But there is that kind of contrast at present. The mob and the angel, the hierarchy. Anyway, they had all these crude weapons to punch and hit. As you say, to punch and hit White House residents. Said they were all going to go up there together. And there were statements put out, we'll shoot them, we'll kill them, we'll drag them out. All that. It was taking place right in front of people's eyes, but the preparedness was not there. Okay, so we're all going to go up there together, they say, but didn't go with them. Yes, he hid in the motorcade. For January 17th, it's been put out that there will be a follow-up. For their return or something else, better the 17th than the 20th. Difficult to find a way to discuss or get through to our siblings being swayed and stirred emotionally, losing your head, basically. The use of color energies does seem to be the approach to resolution. I mean, certainly it veils the healing, rectifying, correcting energies behind the color. There are many ways to approach this, and I think some magical processes are planned, but I'll leave that to you to discuss. Thank you. What's being said, Tia? Yeah. Thanks, Michael, for your inspiring words. They do seem very dark. Well, we do our part, of course, Tia. I'm grateful to all of you who are here, as consistently as you can be, doing our little bit. At least we're keeping our eye on the ball, And we're using our creative imagination to bring rectification in as much as we can do it. And we can do something. We won't know yet what we've done, but we work without attachment to results. That's how we're supposed to work. And we let the powers that be. I'm remembering Master Moria talking about how, okay, you make yourself available in the battle, he said. We will take energies from your aura and throw them at the enemy. We will do that. You just show up. Think of it. Anyway, it is an internal battle, and we have no doubt that our counterparts working on the other side are doing what they can to obstruct the whole process. You know, the whole thing about this march on the Capitol was we're going to stop the senators and House from voting. Huh. You know, they've been lied to. They thought they could do that. So ignorance is the great sin here. In Buddhism, ignorance is the big sin. Yeah, what do you say here, Jan? And bad spelling? Well, oftentimes that's the case. So Heike, Trump looks like Nero. Yeah, something Roman, you know, something Roman. When did the Lodge of Darkness really make its attack on a cosmic level or from a cosmic level? Well, in terms of modern times, there was ancient Rome. We don't know about the battles that went on with Joshua and the others. Apparently, the promised land was not really promised, but DK hasn't really dealt with that. He said the era of the French kings was another time. And obviously, they showed up when the Axis powers were rising. Well, they showed up at the end of the 19th century when Bismarck, who was the contra-avatar to Lincoln, began his policy of blood and iron. Sounds a lot like Mars, doesn't it? And he was a very Martian character, being in Aries, you know, and so forth. He had all the first race signs in the wrong places. Leo rising, moon in Capricorn, sun in Aries. I kind of joke and say, well, hey, that's exactly the same combination as my daughter Heidi, but the ray is a little different. Anyway, he used those energies to start the blood and iron period, which led into the German part of the Axis and then the Italian fascism, which was maybe even more successful earlier, and then the attempt to reawaken the samurai in Japan. Always when you look backwards, you suffer. When you try to restore that which has been before. So something Roman is going on here, even the nepotism of it, the way the Roman Senate and all of that devolved into a hereditary emperorship. You could see the seeds of it when we can think of President Don Jr., President Ivanka, President Eric. Come on, you know? But in the mind of the crazy one, that's what was going on. And Mussolini, yeah, well, Mussolini was interesting. He used his body as an expression of the lower will. Okay, you know, Mussolini, and Dane Rudhyar analyzes him and said a huge inferiority complex. Mussolini was a Leo, with Scorpio rising and a bunch of stuff in Gemini. He was a journalist, you know, and to see him pose and posture, there are similarities, no question. Obviously, whatever the present occupant came from, it wasn't that good. And he's a useful instrument to powers far beyond his small understanding. Okay, it looks like we have read through.
Michael, dear, you have not. There is Karen has been asking.
I just saw Karen's, yeah. If time, could you address my question about Pence's chart in the very first chat? I was just looking him up, you know. I'm not sure that the rising sign is clear. The deep set eyes are telling, and he's obviously a sixth ray soul, and he's a Gemini. Again, so many Geminis. But you know how Gemini can be used, unfortunately, as a deceiving sign. I'm not sure what I can do about a real anything that's really complete about Mike Pence's chart. Oh, I'm sure I'm in the wrong place here now. But let's just see. No, I'm not. I'll do it a different way. Very quickly, if I can manage. And then if I manage, I'll pull the chart up for you. Mike Pence's horoscope. And
Karen is saying, there is coming more. Can you please look the in the chat box?
Hold on, I've got to do one thing at a time here.
She says, I was asking about the specific aspects of his chart now, as I explained in the first chat.
Synthesis aspect? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Specific, Michael, specific aspects.
A specific aspect. I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing. But let me see what you said.
But one thing is that this if I understand you correctly, Karen, this activation of the 25th cannot be used because the vice president will not do that. That is what I have understood.
We don't really have even his full chart, unfortunately. We don't have his full chart, but I have something. Sun in Gemini, Moon in Gemini. I have something, and I'll make it, I'll show you what I have, okay?
Is that the Jesse has been putting already the...
Yeah, but there's more to it. You have to look at it. Okay, you have to look at it, right?
And you share your...
I can do that. I think I can do that if I haven't lost my way. Okay, here we go. And this will stop the other person sharing. And I'm going back to basic. And I'm going to do this. You see it now, don't you? Look at all that Gemini. And look at all the Leo. 3 planets. They're in Jupiter and Scorpio, Saturn and Capricorn. That's where at least he can hold the line. We do not have his ascendant. And that is a problem. But there is something about the eyes which is suggesting Cancer or Scorpio to me. And I would say, even Cancer. And that, Cancer tends to bring people into a conservative state of mind. They look to the past. So, but I cannot say, you know, probably a study of a few hours would make it possible to determine this. Now, I'm not sure what kind of specific we were trying to look at. Saturn opposes the moon, and those are the two parental planets, so there's a certain rigidity. Yes, we could check the Sabian symbols, but he's very clever, and he has the power of longed-for domination. However, he seeks to become president to fulfill the Christian agenda. That's in the back of his mind all the time, because he's a true believer on the sixth ray. And so if Cancer is rising, I suspect it might be, we have, you know, someone who really is not going to budge from his conservative religious point of view. But it would take some work here, some hours for me to work this out. Maybe if Elena could be just brought into it, she's a very good rectifier. Maybe she has more time than I do. I don't know. I'd be interested to see 16 degrees. Well, look, the danger is going off on a tangent. I don't want to do that because we could spend a long time here.
Michael, there are astrological comments.
Okay, what do we have here?
Comments from people.
Oh, okay, it was pertaining to the aspect about his invoking the 25th. Well, first of all, it would ruin his chances for presidency in the future if he wants to have those. And he has this loyalty thing going, even though he's in a state of anger at the moment, they say. Mercury in Aquarius, now this is for something different. Mercury is not in Aquarius for Pence's chart. Mercury in Aquarius opposite is Venus.
In this chart, what Michael has, the Mercury is in Gemini.
Yeah, this is not related to Pence. And Mars and Uranus in the sky and Taurus oppose his Neptune and Scorpio. That's okay. Harmonizing with Saturn and Capricorn and the US Venus in Cancer. Okay, well, we need more, obviously. Unfortunately, I skipped something here, and anyway, Mercury, if this is for Pence, no, but presently, maybe Mercury is in Aquarius, I don't know. I'd have to look. Anyway, to go into it more deeply, we don't have time. Yeah, it's presently. That's what I thought. No, it's a much more psychological thing to me. It's not that only at this time would he resist doing this. It's his character. He realizes that he will lose and be vilified by all those votes that he needs in the future when he wants to run again. So it's a very narrow path that he's walking. It's a tightrope. He will definitely destroy his chances if he will be seen as disloyal to someone whom millions love and treat as a demigod. He doesn't want that. And there's only a few days left anyway, so he can rationalize it for himself, as any good Gemini can do. I think that's all the time we can give to this right now. Yeah, and it would be interesting too that if Cancer were rising, there'd be a lot of 12th house in Gemini behind the scenes. And, you know, he's working with a very subtle agenda, and he's being very careful with that Saturn in Capricorn, checking his Geminian impulses with the moon in Gemini. He won't do it unless Trump really commits further irresistibly bad sins. Then he may be forced. Okay, I disappear now.
Michael, to what did you answer that he will not what?
He will not invoke the 25th Amendment.
Right.
And it must be, well, Congress has the possibility. Now, you've heard, or I heard, but who knows where you hear things from, that a panel of psychiatrists, 4 Democratic psychiatrists, 4 Republican psychiatrists, and other members of the Senate or House are being convened to pass judgment on Trump's state of mind. This is something entirely new. I just got wind of it. Is it true or not? Let's just see. Because maybe the Congress figures there's a way to do this without waiting for Mike Pence.
Michael, there is Yvonne.
Yep.
Yvonne has been writing something.
Yeah. Well, right. Exactly. Everybody is looked at as a traitor. Look, when the mob gets released, even Trump is looked at as a traitor to his own cause. And when they say hang Mike Pence, so many of them have already deemed him to be a traitor because he didn't do what he couldn't do. They were lied to, and they believed that he had the power to stop the process, which he did not. So the mob can turn in any direction against anyone at any time. And that's what makes it so dangerous. It can get out of, like people have been saying, the genie is out of the bottle. You can't get it back in. And they can turn even on the one, that's about the way the 6-ray works. They often turn upon and vilify the one that they were worshiping before. It's very dangerous and unpredictable.
Michael, one question. I have been asking that already earlier, and I think we looked. But when was, or is it still coming, the Pluto in, there is a return of the Pluto in the chart of the United States. So did we pass that?
It's still
already?
coming.
So, and when it is?
No, it's the Revolutionary War Pluto that is still coming.
What do you mean?
In other words, the place where Pluto was
That's right.
when the Revolutionary War was fought in the late 18th century is now returning, 249 years.
But also when United States
That
was
has passed.
established, that has been passed.
Well, it's more or less the same time. It's more or less the same time because the Declaration of Independence established the United States, which was when the Revolutionary War basically was beginning.
So when it was exactly?
I can't tell you.
Okay, Tuija will be exact February. Oh, so it is coming, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay.
It hasn't reached 27 degrees, 26, 27. It has not.
February 20th. So because all of this is also about Pluto. The Pluto will bring everything track from the darkness. It opens this kind of unseen channels and doors from the darkness.
Yes.
So that's why but it is also why we have to be so watchful, because this possibility, which is doing its work,
Yes.
and we can say that it is already conjuncting that point.
It
That's why it is.
is. It's not quite there, but it's.
Well, but it's so close.
It's
It is 1 month.
It's another revolution, isn't it? At 20, will it be 27 degrees? Is that it? It's another revolution. Let's see if I can do this.
But it is very close. So that's why all of these energies which are moving, and we have to remember it is like the devil card in tarot when Pluto is in Capricorn.
Yes.
And it has a huge, great possibility. If there are now enough disciples, that's why all the disciples in the United States has their moment at the moment, as it is for everybody else, but this is really for the disciples in the United States, the moment to stand in mass intent as disciples and decide the future. When we think about this triangle of United States, Great Britain and Russia, so you know that in Russia, Putin has been working on the law as well. So he cannot be ever, the law has been established, he cannot be ever, what's the word in English when you cannot judge him like Trump wants to do the same way, but in Russia it is already done. And also those things that he can be there as long as he wants. There is like nothing in the constitution which will now stop it. So it means that whenever this kind of laws are done, it's going backwards. And in Great Britain, backwards. He cannot, just is saying he cannot be tried by judicial system and has no end to his, yes, administration, exactly. And in Great Britain, it is out from European Union, what should have been the development. So that's why when we look this fight in United States, it is so crucial that the forces of light or some kind of link to the future is able to be done. And I think it is on the way, because still the majority has been chosen Biden and this movement which is around him, that at least when we listen what kind of things they are emphasizing, it is about that what whole world should be emphasizing, that we are working together and we try to go through the divisions and separations. And we have a wonderful president, Martti Ahtisaari, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, how many years ago it was, but that there was a documentary about him and how he was working in diplomatic line and find the peace between war parties. And he said that if you want to have peace, you must listen both parties. Otherwise, there is not going to be peace. And those who are negotiating has to be so firm in will. First, you have to listen, but you cannot give your little finger either, because in humanity, there is tendency for selfishness. But how to work this through is about that you listen. And I think that this kind of forces which has been rising for some ways it should be possible that when this waters has been a little bit calming, that there would come some kind of reasonable answer. At the moment, it is just this kind of reactions, and we have to work for that, that we are trying to calm these reactions. One thing what I would just wanted to say, it is interesting. Yesterday we were talking with and working with the press as today too, and social media. So I don't know, did we have anything to do that? Did we help the process? But we can still ponder on that Twitter and Facebook did the things what they were doing. So anyway, it is interesting to think about.
Okay, I have one thing to say.
Mhm.
I've checked the usual date for the beginning of the Revolutionary War, which is considered the Battle of Lexington and Concord on April 19th, 1775. And apparently it lasted until September 3rd, 1783. So it's considered a relatively long span. Anyway, when they talk about the shot fired, heard round the world, that occurred on April 19th, and the position of Pluto was 26 and 41 minutes. On April the 5th, 2021, Pluto returns to the same position exactly. April 5th, that's Pluto. But of course, it's active before that and after that. But yes, April 5th, 2021. That's the Pluto return for the beginning of the Revolutionary War.
So great possibility for United States. Okay, there are many comments at the moment.
Where we need a revolution, but of what nature? That's the question.
Good nature. Of course. We do not give up.
Excuse me.
Can
Okay,
you, Michael, look these comments? There are.
more comments.
Yeah.
And it depends on what U.S. horoscope we use, but Pluto will not. Okay. It's coming up. We're involved. It's just the U.S. horoscope is a little different than what they call the beginning of but Pluto retrogrades and goes back and forth. So we're in that area. That's the only thing we need to know. Now, what's happened here? He has pardoned himself for oh yeah, that's Putin. Okay. For the rest of his life, Heike brings that. He cannot be tried by the judicial system, and there's no end to his administration unless, of course, health brings an end. The forces rising, said David Hopper, are the last gasp of the sixth ray. And let's hope that following the great conclave, we still have 75 years or so of gasping. So let's hope it's on its way out, but there'll still be plenty to reckon with. And Jesse's saying about the 20th of February, the Pluto return. Exactly, the Pluto return. At 27 Capricorn for the first time since the country's birth. Okay, July 4th. 13 months later, on March 23rd, Pluto will enter Aquarius, and it's going to go back and forth. I think are there 3 entries? Have you checked it? 3 entries and retrogressions, something like that. It doesn't just stay there. It comes back into Capricorn, I believe. Let's see. article, Saturn, Pluto, and the U.S. horoscope. Okay. From Fred, thank you. And every country has a part to play, says Georgina. Indeed, that is the case. And Fred Safran in the Mountain Astrologer, he's telling us January, February issue, Saturn and Pluto in the U.S. horoscope. Good. Good. The Mountain Astrologer. Good. This Pluto homecoming, says Jesse, is a decisive moment for the entire planet, not just the U.S., as the world's major powers grapple with the unleashing of revolutionary forces. Pluto's looming presence has been exhuming buried truths for at least a decade, the revelation of which Astro Styles highlighted in our 2020 horoscope guide, most notably our much touted calamitous financial deterioration. Yeah, Pluto, of course, has so much to do with finance, and it has to do with the dragon and the Kundalini and the dragon that guards the gold beneath the base of the spine center, you know. So there's all kinds of mythology here. It's a planet of great wealth, and that's why the term plutocrat means a person of great wealth and power. All right, so we know what kind of period we're in, and of course it's already begun. And the possibility of transformation is very strong, and of healing. Pluto has the power of the serpent, the healer, with the power of the serpent, we are told in the Secret Doctrine. Okay.
Yeah, but still about the Pluto. Pluto will go to Aquarius, but will still return. It goes, I think, 24, and that is so interesting that it is 24 when it then leaves Capricorn, just before when we have the year of the conclave 25.
Yeah, and Neptune into Aries, which is all about the coming of Lord Maitreya, you know.
So they are very interesting things. And when we think about this whole idea of the serpent power, what Pluto indicates as well, it is something which is so transformational. We should sometimes talk about it, and that's how Pluto is something what should be studied in the chart in order of the redemption.
Yeah.
Because there is very deep parts which are related to Sirius, which are related to the how the saints and saints actually are drinking the cup. We can call that the cup of karma, but it is the cup of Pluto, which is then about the serpent power, how it is starting its way in the process of redeeming oneself. And I could think that this is one of those moments when in your chart as well, how it is reflecting that we should study Pluto, how those moments when the serpent spits fire, which is one kind of initiatory energy which is going through the chart.
Tuija, we have 5 entries and exits.
Yes.
For Pluto, 5 of them.
Yes.
And the final one, did you say November 19th, right?
Yes,
2024?
It is 24. That's right.
Which was the day that the Tibetan contacted Alice Bailey.
That's true. That was it. I had forgotten it. Yeah. Exactly. So there are very, very deep issues that we have to now be ready for that as well. So study Pluto in your chart and contemplate about it, because it is so hidden force, but so obvious then when one goes into it. Right.
Let's just say if you don't find Pluto, Pluto will find you. So, especially in these latter days before the reappearance. Okay.
And then one thing still about the colors, why the colors are so powerful is because they affect the physical plane. They affect, the colors affects the elementals on the, in the etheric field. And that's why they have so direct effect. And so recognize that Tibetan, who has been giving the methods of protection in both of them, which is this violet meditation and then this rainbow field, both of them, he uses colors. But today, I didn't put, Michael, any rows. We will start to work
Okay,
with
well,
the rows of
whatever
weaving.
you want to do. Yeah.
Right. So I was collecting the same way that we did yesterday. We will do, but we will now work again with angels the way that we, in the end, we call upon these forces and we start to build the protective field in the way that in the four corners of the buildings outside and then one on the top. So it's like the pyramid. That is also how it is done when you call angels to help and protect your property or the place where something is happening. So you can use this kind of visualizations. And today we will start to work with that because we start to do for this inauguration. So is it going to be on physically there, or if there comes this kind of dangers that they think that they cannot do that physically, that then it is going to be in TV. So who knows now? We have to look that.
Yeah.
So we can start now our meditation. And first we just think about the energies of Capricorn. So the Capricorn is one of the mystery signs, very deep ones, because Capricorn opens the way to the hierarchy, and Capricorn holds also the understanding about the group progress. So let us contemplate these, that Capricorn, now these energies are giving us a wonderful, wonderful possibility. And what has been manifesting, so that it is all kinds of group things, also the lower. So this energy is strengthening. Yesterday we were reading the labor, but I don't read now the labor. I just pick up those points that we can meditate. But the whole purpose of the labor is to free Prometheus, the soul, the solar angel. So in that sense, Capricorn helps us to understand about the dweller and the angel of presence. And when we have now the Pluto in Capricorn, it is really, really giving us possibility to study the dweller and what we see now happened and happening in United States. Let us align via our network of triangles with all these triangle members and with our co-workers, and then the forces of light, the disciples and aspirants around the world. And now Sun is just there, moving very soon, or maybe it has moved already to the third decade. We have been going through the second decade, which is all about of rising above the waters, rising above the astral plane. But what was happening in the day of Epiphany, it was in the energies of the second decade. And go in yourself into the mystery of the soul. We are living now mystery. We have come together and we have right to shape up the life if we do correctly, if we stand up correctly. And understand how we can manifest through the group. Align with the motto and the Dharma of the soul of United States. I light the way. And we can link with this triangle between New York, Los Angeles, and Washington. Meditatively, we will think about now the work of Hercules in Capricorn. Presiding one is giving now the order for, or the work to be done to Hercules to go down to the area which is called the hell. This is labor which is actually taking us now to the lowest plane, which is not in any other. Hercules is traveling long time before he is reaching the plane. And he goes over the river. But he does not need to pay the toll, which is the indicator that he does not have any more karma to be paying. We can imagine also what Christ is doing. He is also Sun King, who is born in Capricorn. And in Easter, after crucifixion, he enters for 3 days. And that is about the labor done in Capricorn. But because the Pluto is in Capricorn and it is opening those inner channels of energies which can rise from the very low places. So there is no wonder why some of people are reacting this way, because these energies has to be kept in leash by the will, which is pouring also through Capricorn. And it's when he is going further and deeper planes, he is also meeting Medusa, which is just a ghost, but which is indicating about that, about the illusions that Hercules has won already. Also Athena, which is now in that form of Venus, the goddess of war, who never lost any battle. That's why it's important always to work with Venus if we have any battles to go through, like now. Venus just entered to Capricorn. I'm not quite sure in what degree it is now, but anyway, the energy of Venus is helping. We can invoke the energies of Venus into this battle and hold her in our minds. And also Hermes was helping Hercules, who is whispering the words of wisdom. So also we now look Hermes, Mercury into these battles with the lower forces. And I think now Mercury is in Aquarius, but some kind of very interesting points to look. Mercury is related to two things in two ways. To Anubis, which is the dog which is actually guiding through the darkness. So it's Pluto, but it is also related, have a connection with Hermes. And also Hermes or Mercury is thought, the god of word. That's why these words are golden and full of wisdom. We can think about that another time. But it's good for us to have this connection as well. But then he has to meet the real challenge in the world of Hades, to meet Kerberos, the three-headed dog. And do you remember how he was winning? So he is taking a grip from the main head. You can think about mentality, because also Medusa was appearing. So it is about illusions or mental challenges. And he just holds the head by will. So this labor is teaching us how we are actually winning the challenges in Capricorn. It is by the will. In Capricorn, we have to learn. Nasa was saying, quoting DK, having done all, stand. And that is about in Capricorn. We have to stand. And we have also rehearsed that many times, that we are standing in the group. So when he has won Kerberos, three-headed dog, which is indicating all three planes that the dog has the power, but the mental head is the most powerful, or it is actually which is giving food for the whole being. In Capricorn, we learn that sacred space and point within our mind where this blue indigo disc appears in silence. So when he has won the battle with this horrible dog, he goes to Prometheus. And we have here one hint where it is actually happening, the winning or release of Prometheus, if we can handle these energies and if we correctly use Capricorn. It is in third decade, because in third decade behind it we find the eagle, which is called Aquila. So we are just moving into these areas where the group can really win things. And we can release Prometheus. We can just reflect for a while, half a minute, that how do we release Prometheus in United States? This is so big question and important question, so we cannot just in one short reflection find everything what it means, but it is good to contemplate how to release, redeem Prometheus. We have good possibilities now when Sun is moving to the third decade of Capricorn. Now we will go into the meditation itself. In this glamour meditation, we will work with this same idea than yesterday, against the lies in media, in social media and media itself and press, wherever it is using this way, that bringing forth to people the lies. So now we start by naming everybody. And when we hear the name, let us have a strong connection so that we build very strong alignment together, and we visualize that we are standing firmly in the sacred circle of brothers and sisters around the triangle, which includes the White House, Capitol, and Supreme Court, governmental triangle. Michael, Anna, Anne, Barbara, Brennan, Carl, Catherine, Cindy, Debo, Diane, Elizabeth, Fred, Gary, Georgina, Heike, Helen, Jan, Jessie, Joanne, Joanne, Joseph, Karen, Gitska, Karen Johansen, I and N, I don't know the name, Lee, Linda, and Linda Woodward, Lorraine, Marky, Marco, Maria Rosa, Marianne, Mirna, Miro, Natni, Regine, Sandy, Step, Tia, Vivienne, Yvonne, and Veronica, and Julia. We are 44. For the protection of the group, we will do the protective formula, and now it should be already familiar to us. It is done from forehead to heart, left eye to right eye, while we are announcing the uttering this affirmation. So we touch forehead. As a soul, I work in light. Heart. And darkness cannot touch me. Left eye. I take my stand within the light. Right eye. I work, and from that point, I never move. And visualize this cross of divinity shining forth in front of you and in front of every single member of this group. Oh. Three preparatory stages. First, let us focus now with the dual light or matter of etheric physical and with the mind of mental matter, light, light in the chitta. The dual light of matter, etheric physical and or mental, the light in chitta. Now two, meditate on soul contact. Visualize and recognize this soul light. And see it's descending. And three, see now the fusion of these two lesser lights with soul light, the light of reason in the mental body. And let us say, the light is one, and in that light shall we see light. This is the light that turns the darkness into day. The formula. Visualize this great searchlight, which is the fusion of these two lesser lights with the soul light, which we have now created. Turn its light upon the astral plane. Now together the group says, radiance are we and power. We stand forever with our hands stretched out, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of clamor. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding. Thus, with the light we work and turn the darkness into day. We now use the weapon of light and pause a moment. We invoke spiritual will by using the Antakarana. Sense this living interplay between the sacrifice petals synthesis petals, atmic plane or spiritual will, monad, this is linking us into the highest aspect of our being. And using the being we have generated. Let us stand as a great army of implacable spiritual will. Stay in the silence of a loving heart. As one group we say, with power upon its beam, the light is focused on the goal. We have the light now, focusing upon the astral plane. The clamor to be dissipated is lies. All kinds of lies focused in media, in social media, press, which then leads millions to confusion, through which the Black Lords works. In this unified will we throw the light upon the clamor of lies. The words of power are uttered. The power of our united light prevents the appearance of the clamor of lies. The power of our united light negates the quality of the clamor from affecting humanity. The power of our united light destroys the life behind the clamor of lies. And we see the group standing together, the protective cross of divinity shining forth through the group, standing in implacable spiritual will. We see the light, the searchlight of dual light with the soul light, penetrating into the clamor of lies, which is focused in media, social media, press, this vast overshadowing vampire, which leads millions into confusion, false goals and standards, and through which the Black Lords works, vitiating human living and hierarchical planning against right human relations, unity and loving cooperation. we are now going to have 5 minutes silence. And during the silence, it produces the weakening and dissipation of the clamor of lies. And now we enter into 5 minutes of silence through which we see the clamor of lies weakened and dissipated. We see the clamor of lies. It has weakened and dissipated. We realize that the intensity of purpose has been deepened, which the work was seen proceeding. We still visualize that all clamors of lies has been dissipated in White House. In Capitol, in Supreme Court, all these inner cohorts, inner channels of darkness has been destroyed. They are gone. We turn strongly towards the channel, the funnel which has been created. We are connected to the inner life. We contact Master R consciously, who is the region of America. And the Christ, who has said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Let us demand the truth. We call upon the truth and we demand, spiritually demand, that the truth has to come. The truth has to prevail. We say, as one united group, people has to have right, and they have the right for the truth. We turn our inner eyes towards White House. You can imagine, or however you build in inner, but we project the beam which carries the truth. White House is showered by the energy of truth. Capitol, the same way. Truth. Supreme Court. Truth. And truth standing strongly. You can imagine again in the center of the governmental triangle that the truth is echoing everywhere. In your imagination, creative imagination, see all the press, the newspapers, whatever publication coming through the news and different devices, radio stations, whatever is the mean. Truth. And this is healing the wounds in people. Clears the air and the waters and the ground. Truth. The Christ principle working through everything. And we realize again that Capricorn holds the keys to transfiguration, metamorphosis, mysteries to soul life. Group can, if it sees it, how to turn everything towards the light, towards soul life. The key is how to learn the will, that things can be manifested on physical plane. Let us say together now the great invocation number 2, and Michael will lead us.
Let the Lords of Liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of men. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and coming save. Come forth, O Mighty One. Let the souls of men awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of woe has come. Come forth, O Mighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, O Mighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, O Mighty One, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end.
And we still strengthen that the rule of evil has ended, and visualize the governmental triangle. We call the guardian angels. We call Archangel Michael. And we turn away our attention from the astral plane. Refocus back upon the mental plane. The searchlights of the soul is shut off, as well the group searchlight. We call these angelic forces, and we have this experimental work now. We call 4 guardian angels in each corner of the Capitol now. And visualizing Archangel Michael above the Capitol. We are asking that if these guardians could be holding their post now until inauguration. We are asking the protective energies being built around the governmental triangle. And we will work tomorrow more with this. But as we were already talking about, that hierarchy needs our help on this side of the veil. We have come here to be for an aid, help this process. And we do not move from our post since this process has been gone through. And we visualize the new dawn. And we visualize the light which is shining now from the heart of the soul of the United States. We can visualize to the end the blue indigo color, coloring the whole aura of United States. But a new fresh wind is blowing and bringing the new dawn, the new tomorrow. Let thy will be done, not ours. Thank you, dearest friends.